Welcome into the Sports Buffoons Podcast. Let's get it going out there, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of the world. Welcome on in once again to the Sports Buffoon Studios here on a Super Bowl week, Betty.
Yeah.
Woo! That's damn right, fellas. Chiefs, Eagles this week. Of course, we all knew this was going to happen, right? I mean, we called it. We called it from the beginning of the season. Go back and watch some of our old footage on YouTube from just 4 months ago. We knew this was going to happen. So, anyways, guys, I got JG to my left, Tanner Dawson to my right, and we have special guest Troy as well joining in once again. And I love your outfit today, Troy. I'm a big fan of the old Chiefs from the mid early 60s when they first came to Kansas City. That's awesome. How you doing, man?
Doing great. I told you guys several shows ago, my go-to guy back in the day was Morris Stroud. If you didn't ever look him up, this is what he represented right here.
Yeah, it's awesome stuff. What's up, guys?
Doing great, man. Totally confident. Got a lot of confidence rolling into.
Is that liquid confidence, or what kind of confidence are we speaking of?
It's every kind of confidence that you want to think about.
Okay, well, we'll see about that because we're gonna hit on some of our picks for the week here in a little while. But Tanner, what are you sipping on over there? You got some nice stuff in a glass.
Got me some. Oh man, what is it? Glenn.
If you don't,
you want to get the bottle? Maybe that would help you a little bit. What the hell you got over here?
If you don't know the name of it,
That's
then
a
you
little
I
probably
knew the
should
name. I
take
just couldn't
take a
remember how to
break.
say it.
Man.
Glenlivet Scotch. I actually got this for my birthday a couple of years ago. I decided down it because I ran out of whiskey.
Yeah,
so.
take a break, Tanner. You need a break.
He said he's had that for a couple of years though. Like that will last like maybe on a good week, maybe a couple days.
Well, I kind of forgot about it, and I really wanted to drink yesterday, and I was like, oh yeah, I got that up on my shelf.
All right. JG, you got the chalk teas again? Is that what's going on?
Teas?
The usual. People out there are going to pretty soon know you as it's the huge for
Chalk
JG.
teas. They ran out of it
The
last
chalk-
week. I was so frustrated with that.
We mean Quick Trip ran out of it?
Yeah, Quick Trip ran out of my favorite drink.
It's your favorite liquor store is Quick Trip.
Yeah, pretty much.
Troy, what you got over there, man?
Jason knows what this is. He had some when he was down here last. I'm finishing up the last of the Shiner Holiday Cheer because
that's
Shiner.
amazing.
Now,
I
obviously,
celebrate Christmas clear into February. So
I was going to say you're from Texas, so Shiner falls right into that, fitting in with the vibe over there. So that's awesome stuff right there.
live in Texas, from Kansas, 100%.
Gotcha.
Well, I like to hear.
So you live is it Dallas area? Is that right?
Yeah, outside of Fort Worth, out in the country.
Fort Worth. Gotcha. All right. Well, guys, I mean, we got a lot to get to today, obviously. I'm by the way sipping on some chick drinks. I got some Red's Wicked Ale and some more Buzz Balls. So I'm not here to brag about that by any means. So the ladies in here would love me today.
That just means you're taking a week off.
Pretty much. That's pretty much a week off, or have the sugar shits. One or the other. So whatever I'm asking for, we'll see.
You're just gearing up for the big weekend.
Yeah,
That's all.
Exactly. Guys, so here's the crazy part. We're watching two fairly well-matched teams. Have you seen the stats lately? Both teams ended up with the same record at the end of the season, wins and losses wise. Ended up with the exact same amount of points forced as well. And then I think here throughout the playoffs have matched up with the exact same yards per carry as well so far. So there's a few different things in aspect-wise where they got some similarities. This team's ranked number 1 in sack for the Eagles. They had 70 sacks on the season. Chiefs finished second in the league in sacks, thanks to an amazing, as usual, game plan from Steve Spagnuolo. Despite, at times we were worried about some of the outside pass rush. We found ways to create that throughout the season. But going into this game, obviously, I mean, the Eagles were on fire this year. Then they start off, what was it, 10-0, 11-0?
11-0.
11-0. And, the Chiefs fell to the Colts in week 3. So it's like, all right, well, we've seen how things have gone now as time's gone on in this season. But here we are. This is the Kelsey Bowl. This is the one we all wanted. This is the one that I wished for all season long, actually. And we're now seeing former Eagles head coach Andy Reid facing former Chiefs assistant coach Nick Sirianni. So also a little bit of that friendly fire type of atmosphere going on as well here in this game. So guys, what makes you most interested? What makes you most worried as Chiefs fans about facing the Eagles in this game? Because I know right now I feel good. I'm excited for the game, and I know we got to take care of business. I know Patrick Mahomes cares a lot about getting his second Super Bowl victory to add to his legacy. So facing this team, what do you guys see that's going to make you a little worried?
I'm the most interested in seeing like how the Eagles are going to respond to everybody in the media saying that they had a trash schedule for the entire season. And when I look at their schedule, yeah, they played a lot of weak teams. The NFC East was, I mean, I wouldn't really call it weak. You know, we all thought the AFC West was going to be the best division in the NFL, and it didn't actually turn out that way. Whereas I thought that the NFC East was actually a little bit better than we thought it would be. But everybody's looking at that Eagles schedule and they're like, my gosh, this is a trash team. You know, how did they get to the Super Bowl? And I think there are those people out there that are looking at the Eagles and saying, okay, now it's time to prove it. You've played in a weak division and you played this weak schedule. Like how good are you really? And so that's what I'm most interested in, to see how they're going to respond to that narrative, because I do think that they have a lot to prove, even though they have a 14-3 record. I mean, Jalen Hurts, he hasn't accomplished anything in his life. I mean, I feel like a lot of people, while we see like on the Chiefs side, Patrick Mahomes is injured and, you know, they haven't won a Super Bowl in a few years. You know, they have a lot to prove, but the Eagles have a lot to prove as well. Nick Sirianni, he hasn't accomplished anything as a coach. Meanwhile, you got Andy Reid on the other side, who is fully accomplished. I mean, he's already won a Super Bowl. And so I think the bulletin board material is the most interesting thing to me, because I think that comes into play on both sides. You know, you got Andy Reid going up against his old team. And I heard somebody the other day, it might have been on 610 Sports, where they're trying to compare Andy Reid to Roy Williams of KU, because once Roy Williams left KU, well, shit, he won everything, man. Like that's when he really established himself in terms of winning championships. And I thought that was a really interesting comparison, because, you know, Andy Reid, well, he was an amazing coach in Philadelphia, in much the same way that Roy Williams was an amazing coach at KU. But in terms of championships, you know, Andy Reid didn't do shit. Roy Williams didn't do shit. I mean, so now that Andy Reid is on the Chiefs, he's already got himself a ring. And so I feel like, you know, what's going to happen there? So there's a lot of storylines here going in this game. You know, you got the Kelsey Bowl, which is, to me, that's a little bit boring. I mean, yeah, it's great that you got two brothers facing themselves in the Super Bowl. It's never happened.
But they're very likable guys, right? That's what makes it
sure
likable.
Yeah.
Jason and Travis both are likable guys. Have their own podcast that's badass.
If you try really hard, you could probably create that narrative. But for me, it's all about Andy Reid facing his old team. And, you know, Andy Reid, I mean, what more does he have to prove? Well, he wants to win another Super Bowl. But in terms of Nick Sirianni, I feel like he, in the same way, he's got a lot to prove, because I keep hearing all these stories about how his opening press conference, he sounded like a dumbass. Like he didn't
dogs.
Like, who is this guy? And so I feel like both sides have a lot to prove. And that to me is the biggest storyline going into this game.
I don't want to say something. Tanner, I'm going to have a question for you, and Troy, you can piggyback off this too. So something Jason was alluding to here was kind of being about battle tested and whether or not that matters going into a big game. Because Tanner, you and I have a friend, or we have a friend who's on our fantasy league and is a big Cowboys fan. And he used to always bitch to me about, you know, why the 49ers were always so great in the 80s and in 90s, even for that matter. And, you know, his Cowboys were doing their thing and all that, but he was always talking about how, you know, basically the 49ers were so good because they were playing in a weaker division at the time compared to the Cowboys. And so I always thought that was interesting to explain, or for him to explain anyway, is that basically you're getting into the Super Bowl healthy from not playing great teams. At the same time, every time I'd hear him tell me the story, I'd be like, well, doesn't playing great teams make you better yourself? So I know for me personally, I believe in the idea of being battle tested. I believe in the fact that you can go out there and beat teams like the Bengals and beat other great teams around the league along the way. And we all know Andy Reid's record against the NFC. It's the best in the league. And that's one thing I think that's going to make an impact. So, I mean, how much does being battle tested matter to you? Because this is a situation where, yeah, the Eagles at the end of the day ended up having a fairly easy schedule when you look at it week by week.
I mean, having that fairly easy schedule is great on the health and everything, guys, but being battle tested is huge. And like the Chiefs, for instance, were battle tested essentially through week 8, week 9, and then the division hits as well on top of that. So they didn't really have a break until week 14, week 15. So like,
well, once they started playing the Raiders and Broncos, that was your break.
Broncos, Seattle, and then the Broncos again.
Yeah.
And those games were so huge though for the Chiefs to now, like they just went through a heck of a schedule, heck of a stretch, right? And you just lost to the Bengals. Now you got to bounce back. Now you got to figure something out, get more consistency, figure out your packages leading up into the playoffs, right? So that was a huge theme though, that early in the season, because now you can see where you're at with your players. You can see what do you have coming into this play, right? Lost Tyreek Hill, huge piece gone. So now you added Juju. Can he stay healthy? MVS, yes, he can be effective. And then on top of that, Hardman, if he can step up, adding Tony Midway. It was a huge thing for this Chiefs team to be against those teams like Buffalo, like the Chargers early in the season when they were still healthy before they got hurt, of course, in the Chiefs game. But having those games were massive. And again, health is great and all. It might be the benefit for the Eagles in this game that end up, if they do win, that might be the case. But look, I think you got to be battle tested. Troy, Michigan State. What is Izzo's freaking schedule like every year in the non-con? It is atrocious, right? But look what happens when it's tournament time. It's game on. It's those. I believe in having a tough schedule.
Yeah, I think it's good for you. It builds character, right?
It's very great.
Because it builds character. I mean, and you walk into each and every week feeling like you accomplished something and not like it was expected. And I think that's something that goes along with building chemistry among teammates, even and anyone who's been in a locker room with guys. And I think all of us have played sports at some point in our life. We know it makes a difference to our morale when we go out there and beat a really good team. And we know we did something that a lot of people questioned us to be able to do. Or if you go out there and you beat a team that you're expected to beat, it's like, hey, we took care of business. We're badass. You may move on. I think there's something that comes into the chemistry point of play as well with the team. And that's something
you got to learn how to
play
take into account. Right? Playoffs are about close games generally, and be able to win those 2-3 point games in the end. So, what do you think, Troy?
Yeah, I'm with you guys 100%. I hear Jace, but I'm big on strength of schedule. Same thing applies to college basketball, and it's I'm not even looking at just this season. I go back to last year and their playoff record. They had went out first round. They got spanked by the Buccaneers in the very first round of the playoffs last year. So they really haven't, even going back to their playoffs and then throughout this season, they haven't been battle tested in a huge way. Even in the playoffs, who was the toughest that they had to get through? Maybe probably the 49ers, I guess. Certainly
it would have been the 49ers.
Would have been.
Giants.
If the 49ers would have shown up.
Well, the 49ers would have had Purdy. Let's just say
Purdy would have helped a little bit.
If Purdy was there, it'd be a different story.
If the 49ers would have at least had a fourth string quarterback that they could have used. But before that, the Cowboys, I mean, I just don't. Yeah, I mean, they could come in and just stomp us, but I'm betting not. Even though I'm obviously 100% all in on the Chiefs, and biased, but I just this is not going to at all be a blowout in any way, shape, or form. And if they do play us tough, and it's close at the end, I still think our experience, not just our strength of schedule this year, but this is a battle-tested team collectively. When you talk about the coach, the quarterback, the key players on both sides of our ball, as experience in the playoffs, like not just Mahomes. Look what we've done the last 5 years. I mean, the Super Bowl is right where our comfort zone. They've never been to one.
Right. I think that one thing to worry about also in this game is just they do have great receivers over there in Philadelphia. A.J. Brown stepping over from, what they had with Ryan Tannehill over in Tennessee and coming over here to having a little more of a threat at quarterback is going to help a lot. He ended up putting up almost 1,500 yards receiving, 88 catches, and 11 touchdowns. And
a reliable number 2 receiver there, Devontae Smith.
Devontae Smith is awesome.
Julio Jones was no help in Tennessee.
Right. No, yeah. Devontae Smith is a really, really good player. And it's a guy who's really in year 2 coming to his own and should propel himself to continue to do that. I mean, we saw what he all did at Alabama, of course, and put up amazing numbers over there. And then, of course, you got guys like Dallas Goedert, who's one of the better tight ends in the NFL, too. I'm a big fan of Dallas Goedert. I think he's awesome. So they do have weapons over there. I'm concerned. The reason I bring up A.J. Brown is you're looking at a guy who's big and physical, fast as well, had a 78-yard touchdown earlier this season, going up against still what is a young Chiefs secondary. We saw them make a lot of plays against the Bengals. I mean, it's freaking amazing how Joshua Williams, Brian Cook, and Jalen Watson all made huge plays. We're not even talking about Trent McDuffie and what he's capable of doing yet.
Yeah.
That guy's really, really done a lockdown job overall throughout his time, and at least done his best to, not look like a fool. He's no William Barty out there. Let's put it that way. So, I mean, looking at them from a standpoint of skill set, weapons wise, is it something to be concerned about from that point of view? Because I think that's probably at the end of the day going to be their biggest strength. Is going to be the run game of Jalen Hurts, and then the playmaking ability of the guys out on the outside.
I think maybe more Jalen Hurts, but I wouldn't be too concerned on the outside. We just went against Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. Like, you can't get any better combo than those two.
Absolutely.
Really.
Absolutely. I totally get you.
I'd say I'd be more worried about how Jalen Hurts can open up plays and, extend plays essentially. But as far as the corners, our young corners have gone against great receivers this year. Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, to me name a couple, Stephon Diggs, Gabe Davis.
But is the unfamiliarity though going to be coming up a potential issue? Because we were talking about bringing up the Bengals, Bills, and Chargers, as you just stated. I mean, we see those teams. Receivers. We've seen those teams tons of times.
Yeah.
Like, is this going to be a thing now? We haven't seen the Eagles since this team has been basically renovated.
I don't think so.
What does that mean to you?
The thing about the Chiefs' young secondary is that they've helped us get to this point, and I feel like in this particular game, you have to trust the secondary of the Chiefs. You have to trust those young guys, because what do the Eagles do best? They run the ball. And so if you're the Chiefs, you must stop the run, and you must sell out to stop the run. If you're Steve Spagnuolo, stop the run, and then you just have to trust that secondary to make plays on A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, because, I mean, it's just like that's what you have to do. You have to respect that running game, and like that's what do we always talk about? We talk about stop the run the ball, and stop the run, and that's the best thing that you can do.
I don't know if that works as well with the Chiefs, because we're not necessarily that prototype team to do that consistently.
They're not going to run. The Chiefs aren't going to run the ball, but they have to at least stop the run.
I believe in stopping the run being
you're not going to run against the Eagles.
I guess the main thing to be worried about in that case would be just leaving those corners out on an island against some really good veteran players out there. And, I think Williams had a great play on the ball after Brian Cook batted it 2 weeks ago. And but seeing him one-on-one earlier this season was not the prettiest thing. Now, obviously, we heard through the injury report, it looks like L'Jarius Sneed will be playing.
He's cleared.
He's cleared through concussion protocols.
And that's very important, because this game would be a wrap. If he wasn't going to play, I think it would be a wrap.
I wouldn't go that far, but I think he makes a huge impact on the team, of course. And Willie Gay looks like he's going to be good to go, too. So on the health front, things look good. So, Troy, do you have any thoughts on that stuff?
I hear all of that, and I absolutely right. But I'm on the other side, we're their receiver core is unknown to us, but you can flip that and say their receiver core is, they don't know us either. So it works both ways. I just really believe out of all of this, the matchups, it's all about the matchups, right? And I'm intrigued the most by in the trenches, the game in the trenches. I think ultimately that's where the game is going to be won or lost is those lines, because it's protection versus rush. It's stopping the run versus having some sort of a run game. And so much of that is going to be, I think it's just going to be the matchups on the line for both teams, offense and defense.
Yeah, I think Jalen Hurts has taken quite a few sacks this year too. I don't know if that's necessarily due to holding the ball too long or what, but I do think that as much as we talk about and give props to the Eagles' offensive line, with guys like Lane Johnson and Jason Kelsey and so on, I feel like they can also, allow pressure. We've seen that, I think, over the course of this entire season, and that's going against, as we talked about, lesser teams. So, we got playoff Frank Clark up in the house. We know what he's capable of doing. Of course, you got Chris Jones in there. I would move him around the line a lot. And then, here and there, I would send a little nickel blitz with L'Jarius Sneed.
There's rotations, right? Our D-line has rotation capability.
This could be a Dunlap game. I mean, this could be one of those games. Find the mismatch on the line.
So you talked about Hurts, right? Being sacked a bunch. It is. I mean, it's a second-year player, right? A second-year player that can make plays with his feet. It's holding on to the ball too much. It's exactly what it is. So he's trying to extend the play, similar to what Joe Burrow does, except for that Jalen Hurts can actually move, unlike Burrow. So that's really it comes down to, is making Hurts take that extra 2 seconds, 3 seconds for us to allow pressure into it.
Yeah, I totally get you. And on the flip side of that, obviously from the Chiefs standpoint, I think overall throughout the course of Mahomes' career, we kind of know what we're going to get regarding just basically taking sacks. Obviously, your quality of offensive line play makes a big impact on that. But Mahomes himself does a good job of knowing how to move his feet in the pocket and when to bail out, and how to just maneuver within the pocket to avoid taking unnecessary sacks. Something we used to see, former quarterbacks like Alex Smith and Matt Castle do a lot of. So there's a big difference that in quarterback play making an impact on how well your offensive line really looks in a lot of ways. So I don't know, from the Eagles standpoint, I mean, they got some good edge rushers too.
They do.
I'm a big fan of what they got in the D line. So I think they have a great set of talent there in the front seven.
I got a question for you guys. Do you think we see Andy Reid and Spags treat Jalen Hurts similar like we treated Deshaun Watson in the Houston game a couple years ago, or a few years ago, I guess now, having that spy on him, like having maybe a Willie Gay spy or a Chanel come in and spy?
Yeah, I mean, I think you kind of have to in this situation regarding the way that they play, especially if you plan on rattling him, gritting pressure, and having a spy on a guy like that. His first 2 reads are covered. I mean, he's going to be looking straight after that to start running. But here's the thing: you're going to use Nick Bolton in that way, which would make sense. I mean, Nick Bolton's is a good athlete. Willie Gay, I feel like, could be used more in an aggressive manner. I liked how he got that sack. Against the Bengals here a couple weeks ago. I think that was awesome. I'd like to see more Willie Gay off the edge. I think that makes a huge impact on the game.
Yeah, I think you're going to spy on him at times, but you're not going to give him the same respect that you would give other quarterbacks. I mean, this is like, I feel like Jalen Hurts is a guy that he's going to be like a deer in the headlights. Like, he's in the Super Bowl, second year player. And I just feel like they're not going to respect him that much, but you're going to spy on him at times. But I don't respect him in terms of his threat, the threat of his running game. I'm not going to respect that on every single play of the game. Okay. It's just like you have to kind of respect it at times and spy on him at times, but it's not going to be like a full-on game plan for the entire game.
So we treat him more like a Josh Allen.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, schematically in this game, I think the teams are pretty similar. They're both pretty good at misdirection, and it makes a lot of sense because they're both pretty diverse in a lot of ways offensively. I think we'll see plenty of the RPOs, something that the Eagles have used a lot over the past few years. And, of course, the Chiefs pull them out sparingly. But so we've obviously paid attention to the injury report. Mahomes' ankle looks to be 100%. Or close to it.
It looks good.
95% at the very least. So I'll give it that. I think that they probably this week put in some plays in the game plan based around like just everything. Based around like, hey, if you're feeling 100%, we're able to call this play. If not, we have this other backup play that could work just as well. And I think that there's nothing to worry about. We saw Mahomes put up 18 miles per hour on that run there against the Bengals, which was his highest of the season.
Go, baby.
So he was running his ass off with that at the ankle sprain, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. He gets shoved out of bounds by the linebacker. We all cry, right? So I think that right there, that play itself, it just tells you it doesn't really matter because Mahomes could be out there, feeling like his knees are about to fall off, and he's going to give it his all until he can't move anymore. So that's just the kind of player and person he is. So
I like it.
Yeah, guys, what's your overall thoughts on the Super Bowl here? I mean, obviously, we're excited. We're biased, admittedly biased about this game. But what's your number one thing you want to talk about before we move along to some props?
So let's start with Troy. What do you got?
I just wanted to throw out a statistic that I came across. I thought was intriguing again, just for something to watch. It was a next gen stat that said 75% of the Eagles' sacks this season have come on non-blitzing 4-man rushes. So basically, you interpret that to say that they're gonna any rush that they give, it's going to be with 4-man up front and 7 in the back, which puts a lot of pressure on our receivers with 7 back to get open, and it puts a little pressure on Mahomes with a shorter game and relying maybe more on running backs. I think, to me, that brings up McKinnon to have I'm hoping and looking for McKinnon to have some big action in this, and Pacheco as well, and who knows, maybe even CEH if for whatever that's worth. But yeah, I just thought that was interesting. 75% of their sacks have been this whole season, including the playoffs, have been with a 4-man rush.
That makes sense because you don't really want to blitz Mahomes too often because we've seen his quarterback rating against the blitz. I mean, you're more likely to get whooped by him than you are to send that 5th man. So that makes a lot of sense as to why. And if I remember studying Mahomes back in 2017. He played against Kansas State. Kansas State almost never blitzes. It's just a team who loves to get pressure with 4. If you can't get it with 4, and this was back in 2017. These days, it's a little different with their current coach. But they've always been a team that's about getting pressure with 4-man. And going from there, basically. They did it to Geno Smith back in 2013. Geno Smith had his worst game of his entire West Virginia career. Mahomes against K-State, the same exact thing happened. Mahomes ended up struggling mightily in that game to be able to push the ball downfield because they were only rushing 4. They would never blitz, and they just kept everything to where – because they knew Mahomes didn't, at the time, like to throw to his running backs. Mahomes is all about trying to go to deep downfield to his receivers. His running backs were kind of an afterthought in the passing game. And he had to learn to adapt to that in the NFL as time went on, obviously. But I think that's probably the number one way to get to Mahomes is just hope and pray that your 4 can beat our 5 on the line. And that's probably, what the Eagles are expecting, I would say.
Yeah, I'm fair with that. I think it's going to be up to the tackles. Wiley and Brown.
He's got to do his job.
Wiley and Brown.
Hey, if Wiley's not doing his, or Brown for that matter, is not doing their damn job, give him some help at tight end, chip him.
Guess what? Brown
or hell, put McKinnon in there. McKinnon's a damn good pass blocker too. So
Brown wants that big contract. Guess what? All eyes are on you, buddy. This game. All eyes are on you.
That's right. You want to make a lot of money in the offseason? Well,
with a good deal.
Look good right here on all the lights. You're going to be getting paid from somebody.
Somebody.
So, what do you think, JG?
Yeah, I kind of feel like that narrative is out there that Mahomes is not 100%. And I feel like the best thing that the Chiefs can do, I actually feel like it's a blessing in disguise because I feel like Andy Reid would want to take more shots in this game, but I feel like he's not going to do it as much, at least early on, because he's going to want to protect Mahomes by just, getting more jet sweeps, more short passes, maybe working in the screen game just to protect Patrick Mahomes to see how healthy he is. And, honestly, if I were the Eagles, I would blitz him. I would totally throw some blitzes in there just because that if you don't blitz, like at this stage in Mahomes' career, I mean, he's probably healthy and he's going to kill you.
You think they're watching Tampa Bay from what Tampa Bay did a couple years ago?
I think it's not, I'm not
obviously
out
different
there.
Line, but
I don't want you to go out there and try to injure the guy, but
no.
you need to throw his ass down on the ground. Or you
that's
have no shot on this game.
The blitzes you do pull out on Mahomes better lead to him getting hit. If they don't lead to him getting hit, it's getting led to a 40-yard play down the field against your ass.
You got to hit him. You got to hit him early and often, and you have to assume. You have to assume that he is 100%.
Right. So you're saying that the Eagles should blitz Mahomes?
They have to.
Okay.
They have to.
You're saying that you take the aggressive approach and just go for it all at that point. Go for all for nothing.
I think they have to blitz him because if you don't blitz him, I mean, like if he is even 90% right now, he's going to pick you apart. I mean, they can get the short passing game going no matter what happens.
And I was really happy to see Pacheco involved a lot in the passing game against the Bengals. I think that was awesome. Put up 5 catches for, I think, 58 yards, somewhere around there. And we kind of saw him in a lot of ways kind of replace what Jerick McKinnon was doing for some reason, just out of nowhere. And he was just getting open. Mahomes was willing to take the check down. And Pacheco was badass about breaking tackles and making plays after the catch.
And that's
I want to see more of that as well in this game.
That's the other thing about the Eagles is like a lot of people think that they don't have any weaknesses on defense. Well, if they do have one weakness, it's if you can get them out to the edge. And I feel like that's one thing that the Chiefs can do is if you start running some of these jet sweeps and get your short passing game going, if you can stretch that defense out to the edge, that is the weakness of the Eagles defense. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that's one way that you might not be able to stop the Chiefs. And that kind of helps the Chiefs out a little bit because if Mahomes is not 100%, you want to get that ball out of his hands as fast as possible. And so I think that works to the Chiefs' advantage. If you can just get that ball out as fast as possible, get these guys out to the edge, run some jet sweeps, whatever you got to do to get that ball out fast. I think that gives the Chiefs the advantage.
Yeah, and let's keep in mind, obviously, we have some receivers coming off an injury, Kadarius Toney and Juju Smith-Schuster, obviously, with the knee. And you're facing off against a secondary that's got James Bradbury and Darius Slay back there, both really solid veterans in this game. I really like what Troy said about, getting McKinnon active in the receiving game and getting those kind of players just really involved in some kind of way, just out in space. I think that's going to be key to opening up the potential of plays down the field further for, guys like Toney and Juju to make plays. And, who knows? MVS has had an amazing playoffs so far in 2 games. Mm-hmm. And, all during the season, he was meh. He was average at best in a lot of ways. And here in the playoffs, he's been making plays, catching all the passes and had his best game maybe of his career just this past game against the Bengals. So,
well, and we haven't even mentioned the GOAT, that as many times as teams have tried to double and triple team him, but Travis still manages to have, big games. And I think that just plays into the idea that if they do blitz, he's a quick route guy, quick, bump off and he'll be there for Mahomes. And I think that'll be the other X factor along with McKinnon.
That's the thing. If you blitz, that means you're leaving Kelsey one-on-one with somebody, and every single time Kelsey's going to win that game. So,
and that's one of the biggest questions: are the Eagles going to kind of bracket him and try to double team him to take him out of the game? Because I personally think if they try to take him out of the game, like we have enough depth and we have enough receivers running all over the field that's going to hurt their game plan defensively.
I don't think they can afford it.
If they bracket Kelsey like that, that's going to be a problem. And so I'm most interested to see what the Eagles' game plan is going to be. Are they really going to try to bracket him, or are they just going to kind of play everybody straight up?
Yeah, very, very nice. Any final thoughts, Tanner?
Nope.
On that part?
Let's go. I'm
ready. Very, very good. Now, obviously, when's the last time anyone out there has been to the casino? Because here in Kansas, we have plenty of, we have one casino we really care about, but we have plenty of opportunities now to casino. We actually have a reason why one casino went from about to die to potentially reviving and being worth a crap. The Buffoons here put together a Super Bowl bet. That's right. We all went in. It was only $5 each, guys. So we have a parlay we put together. Well, Tanner, do the honors of our Buffoon bet.
3 parlay set.
3 parlay? 3 pick parlay?
3 pick parlay plus 2,900 in the odds.
Wait, before you answer that question, You just asked how long it's been since we've been to the casino. I just set my own personal record. I haven't been there in 2 hours.
Yeah, dude.
So
That's awesome.
I'm doing great, man.
That 1-800 best off, right? Is that what you did?
I did. Yeah, they took care
Maybe
of
the casino could do a 1-800 keep JG off. Maybe that's what they need to be doing.
Man, I haven't been there in 2 whole hours.
Okay, ban you.
Ban. 3-pick parlay. $15 wager. Potential payout $450. So that's 400 to the producer and 25 to the rest. So
mine had the worst odds, Tanner. I think I need to get at
care.
least 3/4 of that.
So first one brought to you by Mike is a Patrick Mahomes touchdown. That is a rushing or receiving Patrick Mahomes touchdown. The next one up is total interceptions thrown by a player. Jalen Hurts.
That was a JG
with
pick.
Over 0.5.
JG says he's going to throw 1 pick.
Sorry, I didn't tell you the odds on each one. It doesn't have it. Never mind. Doesn't matter.
That's a guarantee, by the way. Like, I'm not worried about who wins the game. Philadelphia.
That's a guarantee.
Yo, Philadelphia could get lucky and win the game. Hurts will still throw an interception.
Throw a pick. Huh?
It's guaranteed.
And the final pick of the parlay is the total receiving yards by a player. Isaiah Pacheco over 19.5 by yours truly.
I like it. So, like Tanner said, it's $15 we put in. We'd win $450 on that parlay. That's pretty good.
That's great.
I think
odds.
that's a solid
odds.
bet. And you guys know in the playoffs, Mahomes wants to show off the legs. You know, he don't give a damn about no ankle injuries. So he's going to be out there running his ass off if he needs to, especially get down to that 3-yard line. Everyone's covered. All of a sudden you see an opening right there. And he starts to scramble out left. He's going to dive. You know, I just see it right now. I see it right now.
The greatest thing is that we could win this bet and the Chiefs still lose.
Troy,
that's
Troy,
the greatest thing about this.
Do you think we stand a chance, Troy? Do you think we stand a chance?
Oh, I think those are all three solid, definitely. I was just glad that you guys weren't putting anything on the first missed point after, because that might be scary.
No, and there's a lot of crazy bets out there, which brings me to, do you guys have any prop bets you've picked out so far that you're willing to put some money on? I've been looking around and I'm trying to find one I really like, and you got to go with the red Gatorade though.
I actually got 2 bets, but it's actually within the game. One is a Boston Scott touchdown, anytime TD.
Boston Scott, huh? You're going to go with Boston Scott in the Super Bowl?
He's scored the last 3 or 4 games for him.
All right, Tanner.
He's a red zone running back for him.
Fine.
So give me Boston Scott plus 500. And watch for the inactives, of course, before you place this bet. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, anytime touchdown, plus 1,000.
Woo.
That's it?
Oh.
Hold on. That's plus 1,000?
Plus 1,000.
No.
That's
Okay.
horrible.
On
No, that's a terrible bet, Tanner.
That's a horrible bet. And
It's
let me
not.
tell you why.
Shun you.
What are you talking about?
Hey, let me
That's
tell
horrible.
you why.
Why?
It's an
He's
awful
like the
bet.
4th-string running back now on this team.
Let me tell you how stupid
Is he
that bet
behind
is.
Ronald Jones?
Not a bad bet.
My personal bet is Noah Gray plus 950. And that's how stupid your bet is, because I can get Noah Gray plus
Noah Gray's
950.
plus-
Noah Gray's better odds than Clyde.
And Clyde Edwards-Helaire is not even going to play. So how are you going to go plus 1,000 on that? It makes no sense.
Andy Reid activated this guy for a reason. This guy is
What do you
showing
mean
back
for a
up.
reason?
He's showing back up.
Oh, my God.
He's part
Back
of
up
this
to what?
offense. He's showing
What's
this
he done better than McKinnon or Pacheco
It's
this
gonna be the
point?
3-headed monster.
Hey, look.
What's he going to do? You're telling me he's going to steal a snap in the red zone
You're gonna see
from
a
either
snap in
McKinnon
the red
or
zone
Pacheco? You kidding
for
me?
Clyde Edwards-Helaire plus 1,000.
Look,
What the
I wish you were right?
But
Because
watch the inactive list, because obviously if he's inactive, it's not happening. So
I can't believe it. I can't believe those odds. I mean, it's just
what do you
Plus
want? Do you want me to
1,000.
go? All
Plus
right, Travis
1,000.
Kelsey minus 120. That's
I'll-
so boring.
No,
Give me an
it's-
actual sports.
It's
like,
Noah
yeah,
Gray, dude. It's Noah
plus
Gray.
800?
No, he was plus 950.
Well,
Has
it's
it
plus
already
8,
gone
yeah.
down? So that's exactly why it's going to happen. If it's already gone down to plus 800,
I got your
right
DraftKings.
now.
Oh, I got an update for you, Tanner. So that Clyde for anytime you have an anytime touchdown, Clyde.
Anytime touchdown.
So that just moved to plus 500, which is even worse.
That is weird.
Even worse.
They think he's going to play.
So FanDuel has
He might play. He's not
They
going to do
think he's
anything.
going to play.
FanDuel has
Might
a
score a
plus
touchdown.
1,000. DraftKings has a plus 500.
Right. That's what I just saw was
Noah
on-
Gray's plus
on that.
850 at DraftKings now.
I'm going with Noah Gray. I think it's
Okay.
Those are the best odds that I've seen the whole time.
Who do you like, Troy, for any time?
I'm curious what it is for Justin Watson.
Justin Watson.
That was 1,000, I think. I think that was 1,000.
Yeah, Watson it depends on where you go, because right now DraftKings has him at plus 550, which I don't really like that too well.
Plus 950 on FanDuel.
Yeah, FanDuel's got the better odds right now.
950 on FanDuel.
Yeah, those are going a little better over on that side.
It's Noah Gray all day.
But I do like this. So the reason I think being is that right now on DraftKings, you can pick a first touchdown plus touchdown, like get a touchdown plus win combined, and they're increasing that.
Oh, they got
a
their
bit more.
little odds deal.
It's basically an odds booster for a touchdown, basically
gotcha.
to win and pick them. So. Yeah, one of those deals. Anyone want to take Kelsey to get 3 touchdowns for plus 2,000?
No.
Any chance on that?
I'm not going to go with that.
Unlikely. No. Yeah, that's pretty unlikely, I suppose. So that is a good point. Yeah, I really. So my main thing the other day, we were making our bets up there at Hollywood, and I really enjoyed. I saw Mahomes up there for over 17.5 rushing yards in this game. That's it. They've moved that line as of now. So if you didn't get it back then last week, well, you still can get it now, but you're not going to get it for quite as good of an offer, because I think now we're looking along the lines of Mahomes sitting at 20.5, I believe. Is that where we're sitting at right now for Mahomes for rushing? No, they just moved him. Okay. He's back to 18.5 rushing yards.
19.5 on FanDuel.
19, 18, somewhere in that range. I like him anything under 20. But if once you get over to like 21, it's like, I probably wouldn't touch that. But anything 18 to 19, that's still fine. So I got Mahomes out on my bet, sitting in my nightstand right now for 17.5 rushing yards. So
you can get over 19.5 on FanDuel for minus 104.
That's the one then. That's the one.
I like that one.
Yeah, get it. Get after it. So because he's gonna be running his ass out. It's gonna surprise everybody. He's not gonna put up more yards than Jalen Hurts though on the ground. But he'll still do his thing. He'll run around if he needs to.
Hurts is 49.5.
I mean, if you guys remember the last Super Bowl Mahomes was in, he had 496 yards running behind the line of scrimmage. So, I mean, in this game, we're going to put that in front of the line of scrimmage.
I think they're going to unleash him. I don't think Andy gives a shit. I think they're going to unleash him and just let him run
Pat
wild.
will do whatever the hell Pat wants to do in this game.
Exactly.
And he's going to shove it up their ass. So
he's going to run wild.
That's right. That's right.
What about, did you guys take the bets for each Kelsey to have a touchdown?
Oh, that's weird. The hell's that?
Oh man, if I could find it here.
I mean, I wouldn't bet on that, but okay.
Oh, I threw $1 on it. It was like $120
I'll bet you did,
win.
Tanner.
So
yeah.
I mean, why not? What if it happens? What do they do a trick play?
That would be pretty funny. Both Kelseys get a touchdown. I think the safety, the first score of the game to be a safety is still like plus 7,000. And we saw that back in Super Bowl, what was it, 50 or whatever?
It was the Panthers and Broncos.
Yeah, the Panthers. Wait, no, that was the Seahawks one.
Seahawks and Broncos.
The Seahawks-Broncos one.
Yeah.
First play of the game was a safety.
It was a blue team.
And you would have won thousands if you just put like $5 on there.
So you can get the couple I threw $1 down on was Jason Kelsey, Travis Kelsey to score 1+ touchdown each at plus 15,000. And then any offensive lineman to score 1+ receiving touchdown at plus 3,500.
That's not the worst.
I mean, you never know. Like that's a double win if Kelsey scores.
Chiefs have pulled out some
Jason
offensive
Kelsey.
lineman touchdowns in the past. We've done it with Eric Fisher. Did it with Nick Allegretti. I feel like I might be forgetting one, but it happens from time to time.
Troy, I got one for you. Kenneth Gainwell, method of first TD. Rushing, plus 450. No TD scored, minus 490. Or receiving TD at plus 1,000.
I mean, I think I'd like to go with no TD.
Okay with that.
But see, Kenneth Gainwell.
I'd throw $1 on the receiver.
Kenneth Gainwell last year was primarily just a receiving weapon. He was actually very irritating for anyone who had Miles Sanders in their fantasy lineup. So for me, I would assume Gainwell would be more of a receiving back, but they've used him a little more in the running game this past year. So I could see. I would probably want to put money on receiving, if anything, I guess. But I'd probably be like maybe maybe $4 at the most. Nothing crazy.
$4. Oh,
Yeah, $4 on receiving. Yeah.
Is it time for
Yeah.
some picks? Are we doing the official picks or what? What are we
Yeah,
doing?
well, we need to make official picks, you guys. And if you have a score you want to throw out there, we got to do a score too. So
Well, I always have a score.
okay, well, let's start it off. You're very antsy about this picks, so Chiefs Eagles. Let's go ahead and make our official Super Bowl picks.
All right, guys, make some picks here. So while I am a Chiefs fan and I really wish that the Chiefs would win this game, I do feel that the Eagles have the best roster here. You're talking about a team that has Ndamukong Suh and Robert Quinn coming off the bench. That's a big problem. This is a David versus Goliath matchup. The Eagles have the best roster. They don't have the best quarterback, but pound for pound, they have the best roster. They are going to win this game. I'm going to go with 34-24 Eagles. And, it is what it is. Like, I wish I could pick differently, but the Eagles are the best team. And so I'm fully confident that they're going to win the game.
All I can say right now to you, JG, is that you're an absolute sellout for the name, a sellout for the brand. You're a sellout for the big names of football. You're not caring about a damn thing when it comes to like the actual players on the field that matter on these games. You care about throwing out names like Ndamukong Suh. You know, like we're supposed to give a goddamn about Ndamukong Suh at this point in his career.
At least say Hassan, right?
You care about these big names who don't give a damn anymore in this league. This is ridiculous.
Where's the thing? Like, I root for my team. You know,
Talk about Brian Dawkins.
Old man Fletcher Cox.
I want my team to win, but when I'm betting my own money, like my hard-earned money, then I have to use my mind. I have to use statistics. I've got to use what's going to take it to the bank, and so that's why the Eagles are going to win this game.
Darius Slay goes from, according to Jason, a crappy Lions team to a Super Bowl champion.
Yeah, well, I get it, man. You're interested in the big names. I understand how this goes, but
They got a chip on their shoulder, man. Jalen Hurts never did shit, man. He never won anything. He's got a lot
he
to
got
prove.
kicked out of Alabama and went to Oklahoma and then got criticized.
He's got everything to prove, man.
well,
Eagles.
I think you're forgetting that this Chiefs team was going into the playoffs with a minus turnover ratio and have since then turned all this shit around and have been a turnover machine on the defensive side of things. Out there making plays all over the field. And what's funny is this team still won 14 freaking games, 16 including playoffs, while shit in the bed creating turnovers. Now here we are in the Super Bowl while everything's finally flowing in the right
Just
direction.
keep talking. You might convince me to change my answer.
Troy,
That's a very
please
strong argument.
talk to your brother.
Hey, I'm coming up there. I'm coming up there this weekend. He's going to pick me up at the airport, and we're going to have a chat.
That's what I like.
He might kick me to the curb. He might call a rental. He might just get a rental car at that point.
Uber.
Just call me, man. You got my number. I'll come pick you up.
I got you.
Bring his Eagles t-shirt for him. You know, he's going to want to wear that for the game.
Yeah. Fly, Eagles, fly.
Man.
That's right. Yeah. All right. Who wants to be next to make their official pick?
Troy, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm thinking. I'm not seeing big offensive scoring on this one. I think it's 21-17 Chiefs, and I hear what Jay says about the talent that's on the Eagles, but I go back to the experience and the battle test that we talked about earlier. And the biggest intangible out of all of this is you've got we'll know this for sure tomorrow when they announce the MVP, but you've got a two-time MVP quarterback who is in big games right up there with Jordan. And as I've always said with MJ, when a big game is on the line, especially a championship, I'm not betting against him for any reason. So I'm going with the Mahomes factor and 21-17.
But wait, you just called him Jordan. The last time I checked, the Philadelphia Eagles coach said that Jalen Hurts was Jordan running around on the field. Did I misspeak him, or what's going on here?
Let's be clear. He's got a chip on his shoulder, even though it's not a friendly match. He came out and said yesterday that he's still disgruntled about Andy Reid not retaining him way back when he started with the Chiefs.
Well,
So
Andy Reid had to fire that whole staff because it was trash. So that was the
and
problem.
he was included in that. So he's got a little chip on his shoulder.
All
So
I'm saying is that Nick Sirianni did say that Jalen Hurts is Jordan.
Well, you know
And
who else said?
I can't let that go.
Did you also know Dabo Sweeney from Clemson said Deshaun Watson is Jordan too? So there's a lot of Jordan comparisons out there. So I just want to throw that out there. Everyone wants to throw around Jordan.
Can we just stop talking about Deshaun Watson for a damn show?
No,
every once in a while.
I love his dick.
Come on,
JG.
I know you love him.
You're the Jordan of this podcast. Just know that. You're the Jordan of this podcast.
Yeah.
Just saying, can we stop talking about Deshaun Watson for
okay,
once?
man.
All right, I'll go next before you go.
Go ahead.
All right, so I'm not giving my official pick till Sunday on the Game Day Show, everybody. And as I said all week long, I was on the Philly Sports Talk. I said it'll be Sunday. I said on Buffoon and Botkins Monday night, it'll be Sunday. Tonight it'll be Sunday, but I'll tell you this, it'll be on the under that 50.5 total points. 50.5 total points will be under on that. Anyways, Mike, I'm gonna let you go.
Where are you going?
Give me a score.
What the hell's he
Tanner.
doing over there?
Not giving any
Tanner,
hints.
what's your score?
I'm not
Okay.
giving any hints.
No score from Tanner.
All right. So, anyways, So, guys, I've been wanting this matchup all year long. Chiefs Eagles just felt right. It's kind of funny. I looked back at my old tweets from 6 years ago, and I said, I think a Chiefs Eagles Super Bowl this year would be perfect. You know, it's funny. I was like, well, it's 6 years off, but I'll take it for what it is, I guess. And I'm looking at this game, and I see it being close. I don't see a blowout by any means of either team. Why would we, for that matter? And I see this thing coming down to the wire. I'm looking at a overtime Super Bowl where the Chiefs win 26-23. So that is my official prediction for the outcome of this game and the final score.
Overtime?
Super Bowl overtime.
Extension Super Bowl.
26-23, and we are going to have glory. It is just going to be.
We're going to see the new playoff rules. Overtime rules.
I'm not going into work Monday until afternoon, so I'm sleeping way in the next day. So I plan on being up late, baby.
I will tell you this, guys. One of the reasons why I went 34-24 is because I think that when you have a team like the Eagles, which they're just like this elite defensive team, and you have the Chiefs, who are also have a great pass rush, and a lot of people think this is going to be a defensive battle. That's when you should look at the other side, and I think this is going to be a high-scoring game, a lot higher than people think. And the Eagles could potentially get exposed. Although I do believe they're going to win this game, this could be a high-scoring game.
You want to know?
I went 50.5, right?
50.5.
So that 49 is going to shit people's pants. They're going to be like, we're rooting for touchdowns. We're going to be kicking a field goal to win.
I went 34-24 conservatively. I think you might see a team score 40 points in this game.
You want to know a fun stat that I saw, or actually, I kind of helped saw and made fun of? The Eagles might be one of the best in the league. 1-2, you could say defense-wise. But if you put the Chiefs' strength of schedule against the Eagles' strength of schedule and did that, analytic stuff, the Chiefs are actually number 3 in the league. So,
and what?
So if the Chiefs played all the strength of schedule of the Philly, they would be number 2, number 3.
And what?
In defense.
Oh, in total defense?
Yeah.
About points or yards?
Yards.
Oh, in yards.
Well, yards and points, actually.
There's a big difference, Tanner. We got a
combination of things.
Okay, well, hey, that's fine.
San Francisco still won.
Sure. That's fine. All right, guys. I'm glad we made our official picks. So we only have one outcast over here that we have to talk about here for just a few minutes. But now I'm going to let you guys have the floor for a few minutes because obviously I know it's Super Bowl week, but
wait, we're not done with Super Bowl stuff, dude.
What do you mean we're not done?
Not done.
You guys,
I want to know.
No. Hey,
so at plus 2,000, does Rihanna get a?
I'm not talking about goddamn Rihanna.
Does Rihanna get a
what?
titty shown? Is it Janet Jackson?
Show a Rihanna titty?
Again. Yeah,
I'm not. No,
I don't give a damn about a
happen.
Rihanna titty.
That's
I
that's
could
not
not
going to
care
happen.
less.
Watkins needs to know your guys'
About
answer.
a Rihanna titty.
He's the one who asked.
Can you
this
bet
on Monday.
against? How much is it to bet against?
2,000 plus 2,000
I'd
To
bet against it.
For it or against it?
for it.
For it is plus 2,000. Can I just say no?
No.
You can't. It's only a 4. It's only a yes. A titty will be shown.
It's like yes. Travis Kelce scores the first.
Where's Timberlake? Is he going to be there?
I know. That's what I was.
If there's no Timberlake,
then it's not going to happen.
I said this to Bawkins on Monday night.
Serious?
There's only one thing I want in this Super Bowl. Only one thing I want. You guys want to know what that is?
What is it, Nick?
I want Rihanna's titty to fall out like Janet Jackson's.
Call Justin Timberlake. You need to get out there and uncover something. I was like, is Justin going to be there? He says no. Then I go, it's not going to happen.
Exactly. If JT was there, I would say,
it happened.
Okay, it's a possibility.
Because he wouldn't show up. JT wouldn't even show up unless you're going to allow it to happen. That's the kind of.
If I'm JT, I'm going to sign that contract for the Super Bowl performance. But I'm saying a titties will be revealed at some point. Otherwise, I'm not doing that shit. So that's what I'd say.
Tanner, do you have any thoughts on the NBA right now? We're coming up on the trade deadline.
I just want to talk about the breaking here. The breaking news as of this evening. By the way, it's recorded on Wednesday, just so everybody knows. That the Lakers have traded for D'Angelo Russell in a 3-team trade. Okay. So Lakers and the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Utah Jazz. Once again, Minnesota, Utah like to trade stuff back and forth, apparently. But the Lakers land D'Angelo Russell, Malik Beasley, and Jared Vanderbilt built in a 3-team trade. Timberwolves get Mike Conley, reunited, and with Gobert and Alexander Walker and some picks. So the Timberwolves get some picks back, still to be named. Jazz receive Russell Westbrook, Damian Jones, and Toscano Anderson in a lightly protected 2027 Lakers first-round pick. Whatever lightly protected means, usually it's protected or it's not protected. So kind of a big trade here on a middle of the week as we get closer to the trade deadline for the NBA. So any thoughts?
It's a little bit bigger deal than you think because everybody's going to be out there saying, well, the Lakers are idiots because they drafted D'Angelo Russell and then they traded him away. And so they're probably not getting any value here. But let me tell you what the value is. The value is that they got rid of Russell Westbrook,
who's actually having an okay year.
Which he's fine, but he doesn't fit on that team.
No.
So there is tremendous value on the point that they were able to get rid of. Finally, they've been dying to do this, to get rid of Russell Westbrook. So while I think D'Angelo Russell would probably be a really good fit for that team, it's not going to impact the team as much as the fact that they got rid of Russell Westbrook. And so I honestly think the Lakers could make the playoffs at this point because they got Westbrook off of the team and they got a guy that maybe is about the same production, but they got a guy in D'Angelo Russell who is a little bit better fit for the team. And I think that's the biggest win for the Lakers, that they finally got rid of Russell Westbrook because they weren't going anywhere. I mean, they wouldn't have made the playoffs.
They wouldn't have made the playoffs. Troy, who won this trade?
Minnesota, only because they're going to make the playoffs and Lakers aren't.
They needed this Conley, actually. They really did need a point guard for that team.
They made the move to help improve them. Whether that pans out or not, we won't know. But Lakers aren't going to significantly improve. And, they're just riding the waves out so that LeBron can have another year or two until his son gets there.
That makes sense.
Well, Kyrie's going to be there next year. He's a free agent, so we'll see what happens.
What do you guys think? What do you guys think about LeBron James' tweet about? He said, "Maybe it's me." Is it maybe it's Maybelline? I mean, what is he talking about? What does he mean by maybe it's me? This was tweeted directly after the Kyrie trade. So I'm asking you guys because I'm actually stupefied by this tweet. I don't know what it means.
Maybe he's referring to the supposed broken relationship from the Cleveland days of Kyrie. And
so
LeBron.
you're saying he wanted Kyrie to go to the Lakers,
but Kyrie didn't want to be.
But Kyrie didn't want to go to
be with LeBron.
Kyrie would probably like to go to a winning team.
He would like to go to LA, but he probably didn't want to go with LeBron.
I would rather go, in my opinion, to the Mavs than I would go to the Lakers. It makes no sense. Why would you want to go to the Lakers where you can just watch your career rot away Meanwhile, you could go to a hungry team like Dallas and possibly win a championship.
But when does that start? When does Kyrie actually play for Dallas? Because we have yet to see.
He's going to play.
I
He's
mean,
playing the next
Who
game.
cares when the playoffs? Have the playoffs started yet? Then who cares? If the answer is no, then who cares?
Oh, is that what we're doing now?
Look, it's the NBA. All that matters is the playoffs. That's it. Regular season doesn't mean a damn thing. Get to the postseason.
You think Luka wants to play with a guy that doesn't play the entire regular season and then also in the playoffs? No.
Kyrie will play at some point in the regular season before the playoffs.
Here's the thing about Luka.
There's nothing to worry about.
Here's the thing about Luka. Luka doesn't have anything to prove, right? Like they made it to the Western Conference Finals last year. So he can only get better by bringing in a guy like Kyrie. And guess what? If it doesn't go well, then Kyrie's a free agent, and then he can go play with LeBron. It's just a big circus show to me. But in terms of LeBron, the bottom line here is
he doesn't want to play with LeBron.
LeBron is the all-time leading scorer in the history of the NBA, right? So that, like, I think we should just celebrate that right now because I'm not really worried about too much about what the Lakers do for the rest of the season because they're not going to do shit. And the Mavericks might make it back to the Western Conference Finals. You know, and it's
they will. This is Luka's year to really dominate. I mean, the way he's manhandled the teams like my Suns in the past, that sounds really awful saying it like that.
Here's the thing, dude.
I didn't mean it like that.
Here's the thing about Luka. Luka's game is very similar to LeBron's, is that he's very ball dominant. He's a good passer. And I think that Kyrie, back when he was playing with LeBron, like Kyrie figured out a way to make it work back then with the Cavs. And I think that like the Mavericks could actually make it work. They're not going to win a championship, but if you could make it to the Western Conference Finals and possibly go to the NBA Finals this year with Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving, I mean, that's huge. To me, that's
There's
huge.
a chance for it to
that's a
happen.
win.
There's
That's
a chance
win.
for it. I would say they're top 4-ish to be in the championship game. Like I give them like there's odds.
All you got to do is
top
the
four.
Warriors. The only thing you have to do is beat the Warriors.
Right.
That's it. Because that team would easily.
Which is what also
Did
point number one about why regular season doesn't freaking matter. That team will turn it on whenever they feel like it.
Speaking of your Suns, did you hear the rumor that DeAndre Ayton and the Mavs were talking about trade with the Suns and Mavs?
No, I believe it because first of all, the Suns are kind of a mess right now.
Well,
and like
they
I
just got
heard about
Booker
Isaiah
back,
Thomas with
dude.
something going on lately. Like it's just this is the
got
whole
Booker
thing.
back from injury.
I know, but the whole organization's acting like it's imploding, and it's kind of scary.
They are imploding.
But
Sounds like
it's
an Arizona
not a
team.
fun time right now. For
They have
them.
nothing.
It sounds like an
nothing on
Arizona
that
team.
Those guys are not fun right now. So
Yeah,
Booker's about to be back to being by himself again for a while. I
No,
think.
I mean, Ayton's going to be gone. I mean,
Right, which they wanted to get rid of him anyway.
Devin Booker is the only thing left on that team, and he's going to want out of there.
So Booker's starting where he's currently going to be where he originally began, where he was the only guy there worth the crap, and he's about to be put back in that place again.
Troy, what's your feeling on the Suns? Because I know you and I, back when I was in high school, we used to root for that team when Charles Barkley was on the team, and they back then they were actually relevant. So what do you think about the Suns right now?
I think they peaked in the last couple of years, and they couldn't. The moves that they could make now aren't going to get them anywhere past where they are, and they're a team that doesn't finish, and they're not going to make. They're what are they, third or fourth now in the standings in the conference, and they're going to end up, either getting beat again by the Mavs or Warriors to get to the finals. I don't think they got it yet. And back to the original "Is it me?" tweet by LeBron. I read that to mean because that he came out with that instantly, and then afterwards, the owner of the Nets came out and said, no matter what, my main objective once I knew I had to trade him was the last place I'm going to allow him to go is the Lakers. So he had a vendetta. And so I think that's what happened. With the way all that went down.
That makes sense. Putting the pieces to the puzzle. Thank you, Troy, for that. I did not know that part.
Well, so they did. The Joe Tsai, the owner of the Nets, they asked a lot. I mean, they wanted the farm. They want both of those draft picks. That's what they wanted. And they wanted Westbrook and a couple of pick swaps. And that deal could have been done, but the Lakers weren't willing to give up pick swaps and the 2 first-round picks. And so that's why it didn't happen. But at some point, if you're the Lakers, like I said, man, if somebody lets you get rid of Russell Westbrook, like, they're helping you, dude. They're helping you. And so, like, I don't know. Like, if I was in the shoes of Rob Pelinka, I might have done it a little bit differently and gotten rid of those picks, because you've got LeBron James on your roster, the second or the third best player in the history of the game. You might want to make him happy, even if you believe that he made a mistake in bringing Russell Westbrook in there in the first place. You know, you can still improve that team. And so I just think that Rob Pelinka at some point just became resigned to the fact that, you know, this team sucks, and Anthony Davis, he's got an injured dick every other day. It's like, let's just give up.
Always
Keep the picks.
All right. Well, guys, I just want to wrap this show up by once again hitting back on the Super Bowl for a second, because I just want to say 3 years ago this week was one of the best weeks of my entire life and one of the best times of my entire life. I remember all throughout January of leading up to the Super Bowl, how freaking excited I was. I was newly single, and I just got a new car. I was just being a wild man, partying and having a great time. And the Chiefs were always in the back of my mind at all times, because I was finally seeing them win these amazing games. And, you know, just the way we were playing in the playoffs was just incredible, with the comebacks against the Titans and the Texans and all that. And I just remember, you know, we finally did it. Whenever we got to the Super Bowl 3 years ago, I was sitting there crying, and I couldn't believe we finally did it. And I didn't know how to hold back the emotion of it, because I never thought as a Chiefs fan I'd see the day, because I just assumed we were always in that turmoil of being like a, you know, Bengals fan or Lions fan or whatever else you want to categorize us as at the time, where we just could never get over that hump after 50 years, and we did it. And I don't want us to ever take for granted what we have right now with Patrick Mahomes and in the current era we're sitting in with Andy Reid, because Andy Reid's not going to be around forever with this team. And I want to make sure that Chiefs Kingdom out there and the fans will appreciate this time we're currently in, because as much as I told people back in 2017 when we drafted Mahomes, hey, we're going to win a Super Bowl with this guy, I don't know how many people really believe me. And I truly meant it when I said it, and I believed it whenever I said it, and I can't believe that it was right, honestly. I mean, I'm glad it was, and I might have been feeling myself because we drafted a quarterback, but it turned out to be right, and not just right, but I mean really right, because we're now looking at a 2-time MVP, 3-time Super Bowl attendee, and I just think the guy's 27 years old, and we're about to see much, much more as time goes on, but that doesn't mean we should expect to see this happen this coming up weekend and say, oh, well, whatever happens, we'll be back again, because I guarantee you the Packers fans thought the same way about Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers, and, you know, and then the Saints with Drew Brees and stories like that over time. And yes, Patrick might have proven at this point he can be more clutch in playoff games than those guys, but you never know when the end is going to be the end of your run. And I'm along for the ride, and I'm excited for it. And I know one thing, I cannot wait for this weekend, because it's going to be another one of the weekends. It's going to be one of the best of my life. I'm just going to cherish it as a fan of the sport, as a fan of the Chiefs. And I hope we all do that same way. And I know you guys meet with your families. You guys do that with your families.
Yep.
And I'm excited for you guys to do that as your tradition. So keep doing that.
You know, it amazes me that you said that you were crying the last time that we won the Super Bowl. And I don't remember a whole lot from back then. And maybe that means like I need some help or something if I don't remember too much. But I do remember being out in my cul-de-sac and just yelling at the top of my lungs, you know, and just yelling at as loud as I could yell while the fireworks were going off in my cul-de-sac. And my only regret from that day was the fact that I was not running down the street naked. And if I get that chance again, I'm probably going to do it. And I know that The neighborhood is probably begging.
It'll be dark, but
the neighborhood's probably begging for that to happen. But that's my only regret. And if I get another shot at it, I might just do it.
And the weather is going to be great, by the way. 50 degrees in Kansas City. We're going to feel good out there.
I might go full Will Ferrell.
Well, did you guys see that there was an Eagles fan? There was an Eagles fan after their NFC Championship game. They was standing on top of some kind of structure, literally took his pants all the way down and had the tiniest penis I've ever seen in my life. And he's just out there just parading it around like, and I'm like, bro, what are you doing? So I'm not insinuating anything. I'm just saying
you're not allowed to say that word on this show. Like,
which one?
Penis.
Oh, penis.
Okay. Just don't let it happen again. All right.
But it was cold.
Yeah, let's hope it's so. Let's hope
you're not allowed to say that word. Come on, dude. You know better than that.
Yeah. So, anyways, guys, I'm excited for the weekend and exciting for everything that's coming up, and obviously the NFL draft. Like the second the Super Bowl's over, we're gonna be partying our asses off, and then like within that week after the parade, it's like, hey, NFL draft's here in 2 months. Hell yeah, let's go.
Yeah, somebody asked me, I think it was Tuesday on the Philly Sports Talk. They were like, "So, what are you guys looking at in the draft?" And I'm like, dude.
That's the last thing we care about.
I don't know what we're looking for.
Hey, when you win, who cares about the draft?
Right. I was like, I don't know what we're looking for.
You only care about the draft if you lose.
So then I legit, like, as he was like kind of talking, I like sat there for a minute. I'm like, what are we gonna need in the draft? What do we got coming up? So I was able to give him something. But
if you're thinking about that, you've already resigned to the fact that you're going to lose your ass.
It was off. Like it was gone. I was like, I don't know how to answer you, dude.
Yeah. So. Troy, any final thoughts before we get out of here?
Oh man, I appreciate the opportunity. I just, I don't have to expose my age to you guys. You know how old I am, but this goes back. I started, being a fan. I got to go to a game when I was little at Municipal Stadium and was watching on a tiny little black and white screen, watching the first Super Bowl that we won. Anyway, I don't remember the first Super Bowl, but the one that we won, and just going way back. And I think to your point about a dynasty, you look back at the 49ers and then the Patriots, and yeah, we've got Patrick Mahomes. I mean, that is massive with this dynasty that's been built. But it's also, accountability with these teams always flows upward. And we've got an owner that is probably the best. We've got a GM right now in Veach that has done incredible and built this with some very shrewd moves. And then we got Andy Reid. And with those factors thrown in with, the most amazing quarterback in the league right now. We got we're in the midst of a dynasty, and we got to enjoy it regardless of Super Bowls. But I mean, even AFC championships, or even just absolutely destroying and dominating the AFC West. We got ourselves a dynasty, and it doesn't get any better than that.
I'm glad you brought up the fact that your first game was at Municipal Stadium. My first game was in 1988. I still have the ticket stub. First Chiefs game of my life at Arrowhead, 1988. I was 11 years old. I didn't really know what was going on. All I knew was that the Chiefs won that game.
In 88? That was before Marty and Carl even got there.
They were playing against the Jets of all.
Was
teams.
that who was it? Makovich, the coach at the time?
I believe it was still John Makovic or Frank Gans or one of those guys.
No, don't bring up Frank Gans.
I didn't really care. I mean, like, the only thing that mattered to me is that my first Chiefs game when I was 11 years old, they won the game. That's all I cared about. That was, that was a great experience. And like, it meant so much to me that they won the game.
If I'm being honest, I don't remember the last Chiefs game I went to that they lost. Like, I, for some reason, have just gone to a lot of wins lately. And I don't remember the last time I went to a game we lost. Like, I don't know. That's that, and I love saying that because since 2013, Andy took over. It's like, yeah, we got a lot of freaking wins under our belt. Yeah, in fact, we're the most winning franchise of the last decade. That's right. Yep. We're officially above the Patriots of the past decade of wins. I mean, it's amazing, and I just think we all need to cherish it as all. So, guys, I'm excited as hell to do next week, and we'll either be over celebrating, because I think the plan right now is the parade is going to be on Wednesday, which is always
really?
It's always podcast night. That's where our mayor is talking about. Wednesday being on the parade. And so that means I don't know what it means yet, but
that means it's gonna be a sober day for you, right?
I don't know what it means. I don't know idea what it means. If there's a parade, it'll be on Wednesday, which is always podcast day for us. But so I don't know. I don't know what we're gonna do yet, but we'll figure it out when the time comes and just
let's get through Sunday first.
Our next show may look different. Who knows?
Let's get through Sunday first.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, if there's no more final thoughts, then thank you all for joining. And
thank you, Troy.
Pleasure, guys. Thanks for having me.
All right. Well, I'll see you guys on the next one.
Outro.
See you guys.